1. Here we are. Howdy, well, nobody's here right now, but we're streaming on YouTube, which means that people are actually going to find this video on someday. They're not going to have to search deep through Twitch and search specifically Timberwolves NBA built from day one.
Yeah.
This will just show up due to their algorithm. Hello, algorithm. Welcome back.
Let's take advantage of the algorithm.
That's what we're here for. Well, welcome back, Ashwin. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, man. It's been exactly since the last time we did the show, since the last time we talked.
Yeah, that is true. It's
when was it? It was draft night where we didn't get a pick.
That's right. We did a show for draft night.
I was really excited about getting one too.
Yeah, we both were. We had such high hopes for that night for one, but we also had we had hopes to do some more shows in the off season. But to be completely honest with you, that's 100% on me because I was very excited. I talked about it all the time. I even wanted to do like some giveaways and stuff like that. And honestly, I was very kind of okay with not doing a show over the summer. I'm ready to kind of get back into it now, but during the summer, I was like, I'm pretty comfortable not doing
it. Yeah, we were on a high from all that losing,
exactly.
Let's just keep that energy going. And, losing the draft pick, losing all those games at the end of the season. And I think it was actually nice to just take a break. We could call it, hashtag mental health, but I also just felt like the energy and effort that we would be putting into those things, those shows would be so half-assed that it wouldn't be like really, worth our time and worth your time, viewers.
I think, by the way, there's my
specifically
me. I was testing chat, and it does work.
I love it.
But yeah, and the other thing for me was we started hearing about like Ben Simmons rumors and things of that nature, and for me it was like, well, I'm gonna wait until something happens, and then realistically nothing happened, and I guess maybe this is our segue into actual Timberwolves content, but then Rosas happened.
Yeah.
And that took me by surprise. I was a pretty big Rosas believer. From day one. JJ, he's back. He's back and ready to piss everyone off.
Oh man. Not us though.
Not us, no. This is your home, JJ. This is where you can be you. We just got to get Masked Xer back in here.
The days leading into the Rosas firing was kind of calm. Like, we didn't make a whole lot of moves. We didn't really dissolve our roster, make a whole bunch of changes. Some of us were expecting some big move, and I'm glad that nothing really dramatic happened. The Patrick Beverley signing was kind of super caught off guard. Like, I was blown away by the idea of us getting him and then him wanting to be here, and unloading like shit contracts and shit players for a player that I think is going to be like talked about throughout the entire season as one of the most pivotal players of our team. And so it was like really calm. Like, I was just kind of like, all right, where's the news? Where's the thing? Just like Kat said, like, this is a very quiet off season. And then boom, sex in the stanchions.
God, so crazy. I started hearing those rumors too on like people from Twitter, from like, what's that guy? The Hill Rat or something is his name. And I'm like, oh, this guy's just like, I mean, stuff like this comes out all the time, and like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But then after I realized that he had posted that a month before it happened, before we knew, I was like, wait a second, this actually has some legs. But yeah, just as you said, I mean, if you look at Towns' like back-to-back tweets, it was like something like, can't wait for the season, or I don't know, something very upbeat, and he was very like excited. And then the next tweet was WTF.
Yeah. It was a gut punch, right? Like, just again, we fall into the trap of believing the hype, falling into the idea of family overall, and things are changing, the culture is changing, and no, Minnesota culture is just constant turmoil. So I was worried that I was overcommitting to the bit, right, to the season this year, and I took a 10-minute break. I laughed about it a little bit, and I was like, you know what? He's not part of the team,
Mm-hmm.
he's like the head of the team. And when it's like, it's like Saunders, we had more of a presence of Rosas, right? When it was Tibbs, it was like nothing but Tibbs. When it was Flip, it was nothing but Flip. I have a feeling that we're going to see so little of Gupta, and it's going to be Finch's team. And I think that's where we wanted it to be. And with having Rosas in the mix, I think there's going to be some like, turmoil / like tension and potential, like shunning or shutting off of people that we behind the scenes didn't know, right? And now we just are eradicated of all of that. It's just a brand new slate. Change is happening at the top, but nothing's really fucking with our process or our team building culture identity.
100%. I think one
And
thing that we've been, sorry to cut you off, but one thing that we've kind of been lulled into over the last, I guess, decade is thinking that the president of basketball operations, although it is important, I think, at least me personally, I mean, like Tibbs came in and he's like, I want to control everything. I want to be the coach. I want to be the Pobo. I want to do all of it, And I think, to me, I started to then view president of basketball operations as like,
the top role.
yeah, like the reason your team either succeeds or fails. So for me, I like seeing that Rosas was gone, like JJ saying this in the chat, but like it was a roller coaster of a day, because when I first found out, I was like, what? I had no clue there was even close to there being a firing. Like, I had heard some like things, like obviously there was the Wancho thing with not letting him play, but I thought that was just more of a Wancho issue, less of a Timberwolves issue. But I could see how it could be taken badly, but at the same time, like, it's a weird situation. But then you can see these other things, and here you heard a little bit about Gupta stuff not going so great, but it was pretty behind the scenes still. And then all these reporters like John, Dane, Britt, like Jace, all the people are like, yeah, this is not a shock. This was coming, and I'm like, no way. You're like, that is not how it. And maybe it did seem like that to them. And obviously, after reading some of like John's stuff on The Athletic, because I still have my $1 a month subscription somehow.
Dude, I love it.
But that, like, after reading his article that fully had like everything, you and I, actually, we were messaging on this day, and it was like, this is damning. Like, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many bad things that happened, and like the Gupta stuff is just like, it's kind of sickening to read. And like,
it's sick. It's sick.
I understand stuff like that happens in front offices, and like obviously like a lot of people like let like executives go to other teams. To, you hear it all the time, like, oh, the Pelicans have allowed so and so to interview for this job or something like that.
Yeah.
But to have them deny a move like that is, I understand wanting to keep your own talent, but at the same time, you cannot force people to like not leave. That's just not okay.
Yeah. Part of me was actually okay with that out of everything else that was going on. It's just like how operations are handled in the top, and I'm so I'm not versed to that subject or that matter or how people operate within each other and do doors open or close for meetings like that. And it's kind of nice to see. It was also nice to see like Rosas taking a stern hand and doing the trade, right? Making the Rubio trade when Taylor wanted Rubio to stay. Rosas was like, Rubio is gone, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the moves he made, sans like the Culver decision, and that was a little just preemptive because he just wanted to get his feet wet. Honestly, like that was his first thing he did all tenure. Was fine, and we can move on. Like, let's just move on immediately now. We can no longer need to talk about Rosas, and now we're in Gupta era Wolves, and the Gupta era, like, it's going to start swinging. Like, I think prior to like Finch coming in, it was just Saunders, Rosas, and a losing culture, the same fucking shit, right? And so Gupta's going to have a potentially successful start because things are already kind of in motion, as opposed to things are kind of still being rebuilt, right? So I'm expecting a very quiet, start to the season where it's just going to be us figuring our team out and Gupta, like trade machine Gupta, not doing the trades, just like hanging out, standing back, watching what's developing.
That's kind of my guess too. I don't know if that's what I want, but I don't think it's something that I'm like super unhappy about. I just think that it's like I was so excited for the possibility of like some like real change in the team. But to be honest, I mean Beverly is going to be such a huge player for us that like have adding Beverly to this team and not changing much of anything else other than getting rid of Rubio is and like Leandro Balmaro. That's going to be interesting. So I'm curious to see the team. I think and we'll probably get into Ben Simmons. We will get into Ben Simmons a little bit later, but I do think that you're right. I think we're gonna have to wait a little while for any kind of moves to happen. I'm sure as like as we're done with this show or something, we'll get some notification saying Ben Simmons has gone someplace. But I agree with you. I don't expect there to be anybody coming in very quickly.
Yeah.
I think if there were to be any trades, it would be mid-season, and only if we're doing well mid-season.
I have to say the Tibbs era was a huge rebuild on itself, but it was retooling rather than rebuilding, and it was retooling with aging vets that were just already known quantities. Mm-hmm. Rosas was kind of like swinging, like he was throwing darts at like random sections of the dartboard and hitting, right? Mm-hmm. Like with Nasri, Jalen Noel to an extent. Jordan McLaughlin, like kind of betting and hedging his bets. And so like I give them the crew, because I don't think it's just Rosas, the crew a whole lot of credit for rebuilding off of what was a terrible situation to come into. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of wanting to transition a little bit from Rosas to like how media day happened and how they kind of just like skirted the question and said no conversations or comments about Simmons or Gupta or Rosas.
Yep.
And how like Glenn Taylor still is in the fold, and how remarkably idiotic it is to have him still showing up and
driving in from Mankato.
Yeah.
Which everybody made such a big deal about. He made the 90-minute drive from Mankato to Minneapolis.
Yeah. Whoa, that as an 85-year-old, I can't comment, but that must have been a doozy on the right foot there.
Yeah, to stop at a gas station. Oh, mm-hmm. God.
Oh, shit. And it's probably a Super America, too. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that I wanted to hear more from Laurie and Rodriguez, and I got nothing. I wanted to hear something from Gupta, and I got nothing.
Yeah.
And so that whole media day was a dud, with the exception of like those fun interviews that we got from like Ant and D'Lo and
yep.
And kind of a super serious one from Cat and whatever. But,
yeah, no, I agree though, especially on like, and I guess this again maybe goes back to what I need to be paying attention to. I should not be paying attention to president of basketball operations.
Yeah, let's not.
I shouldn't even be paying attention to really ownership. I mean, like obviously I want Glenn to go, but like as like a fan, like that probably doesn't affect me that greatly until Laurie brings like Tolosa to Minnesota or something like that. But for me, watching the press conference with Glenn all the way from Mankato and
so far so.
Yeah, it's like not that far. It's crazy.
I'm sure it's snowing in there and everything.
but with those three, with A-Rod, Laurie, and Glenn, I was super disappointed because I was hoping for some more insight. I do, I guess, feel comfortable that the team is probably going to stay in Minnesota, but at the same time, I just have a hard time trusting people like this, and to me, obviously, it's a little bit different for me because as somebody I almost want to consider myself dually home in Minneapolis and Seattle, so the two places. Yeah, so I'm like a dual statesman or something. So I don't really feel that nervous about the Timberwolves leaving anymore, whereas I used to when I was like a kid. That was like a scary thought to me. But now I'm like, oh, okay, well, I might be living in Seattle again. So like that is not a problem to me. But I just have I have a hard time fully trusting them. But yeah, I mean, A-Rod said some things before the press conference that made me believe that he is more so invested in Minnesota. A-Rod by far has said more meaningful things than Laurie so far.
Yeah. I'm fine with these the duo. I really am. I'm entrusting in some sort of progressive, mantra that they'll bequeath to Minneapolis. But I will say that it is so strange that people that don't have any Minneapolis origins are just like thrown in quickly within a 24-hour turnover, get the team, and it's A-Rod. It's the Twins killer, and it's
Yeah.
Laurie, this dude who's trying to be Elon Musk with no hair. It's like, do we really want to put all of our eggs in these kind of people? And I think to zag when everything was about like fucking like the country club Minneapolis
Mhm.
zigging is great. Like just try something very different.
Yep.
And let's see how it works. And honestly, like they're going to try to spend as much money and effort to make this a successful thing because they probably had a whole lot of teams to pick from.
Yeah.
But like they saw Glenn Taylor being 85 plus, and they were like, okay, so this is a situation we're dealt in. How can we in the next 10 years make this like a vibrant atmosphere?
Mhm.
Because this is our name on the line, right? So they're going to try to do as much as they can, and they're not going to sit back. And I think that's where I think Glenn Taylor was just like, I'm on my last legs here, driving to Mankato, driving from Mankato. I'm honestly like, I'm so glad that the transition's happening. I just wish, and I think we should stop talking about this, but I just wish he wasn't there at all. I wish it was just Laurie and Rodriguez, really.
I agree.
But I'm very confident in like what's been building outside of our reach because like we're mostly in tune with the players here.
Mhm.
Because it's allowed for a Pobo to bail or be to be dismissed, and then have a new dude who's just gonna bend in every situation, every scenario, every trade, and he's basically running the team now. And I'm excited about that because Finch and Gupta have a good chemistry. They've been with Houston together. They were, here in Minneapolis together. So I think there's going to be good chemistry. And Gupta, one final thing is Gupta's a guy who's not going to be like overthrowing anyone's commentary.
Yeah.
He's going to be like the best idea wins. Also, Finch, you're way more of a voice than I am. Have more voice, right?
Yeah.
And I think I like that.
To kind of wrap up my thoughts on the ownership and kind of everything that you've been talking about, coaches, Gupta, all this stuff. As for Mark and Alex, I do think, and I won't get too much into the weeds on this, but I think Minnesota is an attractive place to build a team, especially a successful team, because, and this is why, like A-Rod did say a little bit of this at the press conference. There are so many Fortune 500 companies in Minnesota, and there's just lots of business opportunities and also huge reach in a fan base that has almost no pro teams around it other than like Illinois, and I guess the Bucks too. But like the Bucks are a great example, the Bucks can have fans from Minnesota, Iowa, they can even reach, and especially Minnesota can reach into the Dakotas. Maybe if you look at like the Twins, the Minnesota Twins, and their like fan chart, like if you look at like a map, it goes all the way out to like Idaho, down even to like in the northern parts of like Colorado, and it's just like, if you can have a successful team, then you're gonna have such wide reach. It is a good thing to have a successful team in Minnesota. We just haven't had that in a long time. But and then as for Gupta and Finch, if anybody's looked at my Twitter bio recently, it's giddy for Gupta. I am ready for Gupta. I think he's going to be a calm presence. I think he is going to be wise, and like you said, I think it's going to be something where the best idea wins, not my way or the highway. I don't think that's going to happen. And I had a thought the other day, and this is just a gut feeling, so this is the less
a Gupta gut.
This isn't even about Gupta. I wish it was about Gupta. That's too good. But it's about Finch, and it's crazy, and maybe this isn't saying too much, but I feel that there's a possibility, again, just a gut feeling, but I feel like there's a possibility that Chris Finch goes down as one of the best Timberwolves coaches of all time.
I actually think bar none will be. And it's just because I think there's a solid foundation for him to have success.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas we were kind of reaching for ingredients beforehand, and prior to Flip, we had such a shitty team. Flip kind of switched it around, but it was also because holy shit, we had a monster of a pick in KG.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can't. It's hard to mess things up when you have a pick like that.
yeah, and so with the new NBA, new everything, and dealing with so much controversy to um, hold strong and stand tall and bring this team into contention. I think we're going to look back at this and be like, this is one of our top 2-3 coaches that we've ever had. So I'm really happy about it, and I guess that's going to be a cool question. So not just Finch though, he kind of dismissed a few coaches that were on our roster, trying to lead our defense to bottom 10 defense, and David Vanderpool and amongst others. And even we had a new hire and he left for some other team. And now we have like Elston Turner or something like that. And, do you feel any strange way one way or another about our coaching situation, or like we don't care at all?
I'm a little concerned, and this is so I don't know if this is illegal or not. That's the wrong way to put it. But
don't get fined. Don't get fined.
No, I won't get fined. I don't know any inside information. But I've been listening to a few podcasts, and I've been listening to everyone's and Reddit's favorite.
Aggregate it.
Dane Moore.
Yeah.
But he and Britt have been talking a lot about the defensive coaches. And you were referencing, and I cannot remember his name. The guy
Elston Turner.
Is that who we have now?
Yeah.
Yeah, who was the guy before him that left 2 days before preseason?
Some dude named Joe. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, people loved him, and he left right before, and they were a lot of people were really happy with how he was talking about the defense. It sounded like we were going to do a lot of different things, and this new guy came in, and the way he sounded was less sure. It sounded a little bit more. I don't know. The thing that was different about like Ryan Saunders era of the Timberwolves was it was like you ran the plays. If the plays worked, great. If not, you just keep doing it over and over and over again. That's how you do it. And it seems like the approach now might be a little bit more adapting to what happens. But I do get worried because tomorrow is the first preseason game. And I don't even know when the regular season actually starts. I think it's still in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
Yep.
Going into the first preseason game, are you like very, very high? Are you kind of lukewarm because of the coaching, or are you just like, let's fucking go?
This is all my analytical view. My heart and my mind right now. Well, my heart right now is way too excited. I am very pumped for this season. For one, I'm really, really hopeful that we can stay healthy the whole season so that I don't have to go on here every day after every stupid game and be like, oh, well, D'Lo and Cat haven't played together in 3 months or something like that. I don't want to say that again. I don't want to say that this month or this year.
This month, yeah.
And I hate it, but I see that tweet that the Timberwolves PR put out today that said, injuries report, there are none to report. And that's going to go down as a tweet. I hope not. But it's going to go down like that tweet where they put a gif of Cat, and it says, the Timberwolves are going to be bad this season.
After we started like fucking 2-0?
Yes, yeah. I really hope that does not turn into that. But yeah, I hope we can stay healthy. And just like a general overview, if we ended up getting somebody like Ben Simmons, I'd be even more excited. But I am excited with our team right now. I want to see how it goes. I am wildly high on Ant. I am very high on Cat. And I guess I'm lukewarm on D'Lo. I'm unsure, but overall, I'm very excited. However, the analytical side of me, like I was saying, worries about the defense still, just because, Cat played better defense last year, but we need the whole team to play better defense. Yeah. And I just don't see that happening overnight.
I think the switch to a more big friendly defense where the big doesn't have to run and be I will say as prone to foul trouble as in the past with Tibbs system and like kind of that like antiquated notion of Tibbs system. You need like a really strong big to do that. Well, Cat is slimmed down to like 225 pounds, right? So like he is going to get pushed over by Dylan Brooks still. So we probably need a different approach. And he's no Rudy Gobert, right?
Well,
So and Rudy Gobert is really scrawny and whatever. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I've heard that he's so much thinner now, and the hope is that he can now go out and guard people on the
Oh,
three.
the perimeter.
Not that he wasn't able to do that before, but now he's so much lighter
Yeah,
that he should be able to do that. But question for you: do you think
yeah.
that's better or worse for Towns in foul trouble?
No, I think it's better for everyone involved except for maybe Jaden McDaniels and maybe even Anthony Edwards because they're going to have to rotate to the paint to stop any penetration. They might be the ones in foul trouble, and I don't like that idea, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. Looking up positively, I think a good approach is a new approach because what was working wasn't, right? Was what was being attempted wasn't. Um, I am also high on this team this year, so much so that I'm CBD high on this team.
Whoa!
Toka 420. Um, we had 23 wins with a shell of our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had Rubio as our fucking leader on the court. Like Rubio is a very soft-spoken, like change your face tattoo of a lion, but he's not really very vocal. And his pitch is very alto, right?
Yeah.
Um, we now have Patrick Beverly, who's like a godsend for this team. He
Yep.
wants to be this fucking vocal leader. He relates to the players because he's from a basically like all eyes away from me kind of approach where no one even thought of him as a player. And he was brought up through, the G League and was like a centennial type of basketball player, like running around the teams trying to find a place. And then he carved his identity through defense. And then we have all these players like McKinley Wright and Isaiah Miller and all these other players who are going to like follow his lead to the T. And he's the loudest player on our team, and we had no loud leader. And I think it's rubbing off on Ant already. You're seeing Naz Reid love Patrick Beverly's presence already. I think it's just nothing but good vibes. And my pulse, I think, resonates quite attuned to their response to like Patrick Beverly, their response to each other. And I think we're healthy for the first time in forever. It's D'Lo's contract year. It's like Cat's been talking about an extension and he would like to stay here. Like, and it's Laurie and Rodriguez's first year. They want to succeed for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 23 wins last year with a half of a team, with 25% of a roster, with Finch coming in late, full offseason. We have preseason now. We don't have any new dudes. We have a lot of, dudes that have been here before. And while we're heavily reliant on Ant and Jaden to an extent, like we have a lot of shooting. We have a lot of offense. And I think just from that alone, I think there's going to be a lot of good vibes in a winning culture with this team this year. And 23 wins, I'm trying to get to that point. Sorry, now I'm arriving here. Like with 82 games, we're not going to get to like 30 wins. Like that's an equivalent like percentage maybe, right? Like 23 over 72 games, 28, 29 over 82 games. Could you like close your eyes and think like we could be at least 10 games better than we were? From everything kind of just being what it is right now, standard. Looking at the rest of the league and like what are like the Blazers doing? What are like half these teams doing? All these new coaches, all these new like front offices, and teams that are supposed to be better than us like don't look like it on paper. So
So wait, what are you? Not to put you on the spot, but what are you saying for wins and losses this year?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're better than 38 wins, and 38 wins is sub 500. So I think we're a 500 team. I would say 38 wins is a play-in game, and I think we're about there at our like worst case.
I'd say I agree, and I think my outlook for the season is, even though some things have changed, I think my outlook for the season is very similar to how my outlook was last season. I think we are a team that should be able to win every other game, so 500. I think there's no reason, and that means we'll beat some good teams and we'll lose to some bad teams. I think that'll happen, and maybe in the beginning of the season it is a little rough, but I also think that I think like JJ said, 38 is doable. I think that should be a baseline. That we should not be below 38 wins. I'd say worst case scenario, if we are not above, man, if we're not above like 34 or 35 wins in the season, I think, and even with injuries, I think we got to be considering major changes. But I also think so. I think that's probably the floor is like 34 wins. That's what it should be. The realistic floor is probably 16 wins, but what it should be is 34. And then I think as a ceiling, I think this team could be a 50-win team. I think if things went right,
Foghorn,
you'd have to. Like everything would have to go right. You could maybe pull off 50 wins. I don't think it's impossible, but I do think that it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're very deep as a squad. Like I kind of struggle to find who our forwards are really outside of Jaden and maybe Torian Prince.
Jake Lang.
Yeah, there it is. And I struggle to see if like one big goes down, can we cover all of the stats that big would produce? Our guards are probably our strongest they've been in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe I'm saying that because it's like there's been so much change, really. But I'm really excited about what they are. And like, D'Lo's in a contract year. He said it himself. While we're probably expecting 10 to 15 games that he might miss, like we have a good backup. We have Beverly, who's like 40% 3-point shooter. We have, Jordan McLaughlin on a contract, so he's not like actually like, am I on this team or not? He's like confidently on this team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go with this squad, and like I don't need major changes. Like Ben Simmons would be great, but I'm thinking like Ben Simmons at a trade deadline or like near Christmas situation would be better than now because the pulse is high, the energy is high, everyone's riding each other. You can see all those like tweets and whatever, families looking like it's still the mantra, and people are like friends with each other. And you break that up for a dude who might be a little disheveled, might be a little angry, might be a little like out of place, out of shape, right? Like I would be worried like fitting him into a new system for 20, 30 games, like we'd be almost punting, like to see how it would work.
Yeah.
And so if things go wrong, boy, do we need that make that trade, and we'll make that trade happen. Yeah. But
so
if we're kind of curbing around 500, I'm not really sure we need to really make a major splash.
If you like, let's say hypothetically, okay, let's say we're getting close to December or in December, and the Timberwolves are like, I don't know what the record would be, but let's say we're like 5 or 10 games below 500. Do you think at that point it's worth it to go after Ben Simmons, or do you think it's just time to change?
If we're 5 games below 500, I'm not sweating. If we're 10 games below 500, there's a little bead. There's a little bead. A little Embiid. I will say, if we are just absolute ass, we're injury driven again, and teams like the Memphis Grizzlies are like 10-4, right? Yeah. Or like New Orleans Pelicans is 16-7. Like we're looking up at the shit of the West. We can't have that happen. We got to make a change. Yeah. But if we're kind of like 5-10 games under 500 and we're about 10 to 16, like we're kind of within arm's reach of any one of those spots, I'm okay. I would be okay.
Okay.
And it would be just okay. Because we don't have Kawhi. We don't have Klay Thompson. I don't know, like, what's Wiggins' status? I guess he's got the shot.
He got the shot,
everyone. Breaking news.
Only thing he's ever been passionate about in his life.
Apparently.
Not getting it.
And drink the pink.
And drink the pink. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I'm just thinking, like, the West, outside of, like, the top 2 or 3 teams, is fairly wide open.
Yeah.
And we could struggle for a bit and still kind of be in the middling. We can still be middling, like I don't think highly of Portland right now. I don't think highly too much of Dallas either. And so like there could be this giant sweeping change that could happen mid-season
Mm-hmm.
for lots of these rosters that are kind of in win now mode. We are just like win more than we have been mode.
Yeah, that's true. I love that take. Oh man, yeah. No, I guess I agree with that. I think I do kind of align with JJ where it's like if we're 10 under, I don't think there's any point in getting Ben Simmons because I don't think Ben Simmons makes us that much better of a team. I think going out and getting Ben Simmons gets us closer to almost being 500 if we're already that bad at that point. But it's more so that right now I see if either right now or mid-season we're doing pretty well, but we could use that extra like oomph to get to like deep playoff run, not just like make the playoffs. Then I could see a move for that. But I think I less see a move if we're struggling in the season. I think if we're struggling, I think then you got to have some heart-to-heart moments in the front office and be like, "Yep, so D'Lo, this was your last day." Maybe even
Yeah.
Cat. You know,
Yeah.
let's figure out what's best for you, Cat. Whether that's you want to go home to like New York or something, or go home to Tibbs, or if you want to go out west and I don't even know. You know, the interesting thing about Cat, you hear like all these rumors about players, but Cat is, and this is gonna sound strange coming from somebody that was overall not a huge fan of Cat last season. You know, he is so slept on by other fan bases, it's insane.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, you don't hear these same rumors of like, oh, he could really want to go to like Portland, or he could really want to go to these. Like, you don't hear that same rumor because other teams legitimately think that he is like a bottom 50% center in the league, and it's crazy.
Yeah. I don't remember the names ahead of him or whatever, but like Ant is being slept on too as a dude under 25.
Yes.
And I think Cat
Oh
is
yeah.
25, maybe a little under that too. And like I don't know if he's like in the upper tier of players there. And I'm just thinking in terms of top 100, ESPN or Forbes or whatever that was, like SB Nation threw out a list, and like, you know, where are our players? Like, I think he's being slept on, and I think you know what, that's fine. National media always just pays attention to the top storylines, and like, oh, Kate Cunningham hasn't played an NBA game, but he was drafted number 1. Boom, put him in the 12th spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like who? And I kind of don't care because what we've been witnessing has been a huge culture shift, and I think the like Cat's mind is finally right.
Yes,
right. Like I think
I
agree. I may be a DM JJ over this. It's like he's had to deal with so much in his life, and I want to stop talking about it because there was nothing that really happened except for like love and affection and community and like togetherness with him this year, this offseason, right? Yeah. So like he worked on himself, he leaned up, he got more core strength, and D'Lo has been like in the gym nonstop. Beasley was in jail working on his swole game, and like Ant looks like the smoothest dribbler we have on our team.
I'm
and
so excited.
Like I don't know, man. Like that right there, that couple of plays that they teased out to us is something that you can close your eyes and see like happening 20 times a game. And defenses will have no idea how to like stop how lethal 1 through 4 of our players are, right? So
yeah.
And like, okay, 5th option, Jaden McDaniels, good luck with that, right? Like, yeah. Or Patrick Beverly, good luck with that.
By the way, I am so excited for Patrick Beverly, and I've got a little surprise.
Oh, really?
A little surprise from DH Gate, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. We got
a jersey?
22, but Beverly. And that is spelled correctly. I had to double check a million times. It's okay. You know,
Beverly feels... L-E-Y or L-Y?
It is L-E-Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
Yes. By the way, I'm a minute delayed on YouTube, so we're gonna have to talk about that later.
Oh, interesting.
Oh my God, that's a sick jersey. I'm seeing it now. By the way, I'm seeing it now.
Oops, sorry. Here.
That is awesome to see, and like, rest in peace, Andrew Wiggins, Ashton Haggins. We got. That's right. we got Beverly. We got a keeper in Beverly.
It's not the best. So this has now turned into a DH Gate jersey review. But, you know, it really isn't the best quality. I don't know if it'll show on the camera very well. But honestly, on camera, it looks way better. But it's not the best. I would definitely prefer a real jersey. This is a shout out to Patrick Beverly. If you have any jerseys, I will definitely take one off your hand.
Yeah.
Especially those new blue ones. But
Dude, those new those spoiled blue, basically kind of like a mash of all of our jerseys, like the Wolf jersey
Yep.
with the Tibbs era when we got into the playoffs, game 82, the baby blues, as well as the Shreve jerseys, all meshed together.
I love it.
With like the Prince lettering for the Wolves. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it looks so good. It looks so slick. And it's not messy. It looks like it would be like a jumbled mess. You hear that and like 5 jerseys put in one.
It's really not.
But it looks so clean.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I wish I should have brought a picture with me. I'm sorry.
It's all good next time.
But on Twitter, you'll definitely see it all over Twitter.
Yeah, and like we've been seeing some like forms of it. It looks better and better with each like iteration.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder when it's coming out.
Yeah, I wonder.
The season starts.
Like I got my first jersey of Ant last year, and we were like abysmal as a roster. I think I'm going to be super hyped this year, and I'm going to be buying like a D'Lo, a Beverly, a Towns, a McDaniel's. Like I feel like that's what's going to happen. So like this white wall of it's going to be full of
jerseys,
Wolves swag,
championships, all the stuff. But yeah, with the 2018 Gray Wolves, I actually really liked that jersey that we had during the Butler days. That gray one,
very unique jersey.
It was unique, and I was just like totally not expecting an all gray jersey. I was expecting like very heavy tree or very heavy green. I guess we got like the crazy lime greens right now, the Seattle colors, but like I don't like that jersey at all. But I like more of like the darker green, kind of like evergreen green. And I was expecting that, but when I saw the gray, I was like, honestly, this is kind of nice. But glad I didn't.
I'd be down for a rebrand because it's like that kind of that jersey kind of fits with Tibbs era, very militant.
Yeah.
The white especially feels very militant.
Mm-hmm. I
would like to start over and have like like a Jalen Noel in the design room, like building our jersey with everyone. Like that'd be sick.
The thing that I will say about, because it's Nike doing the jerseys now, right? Yeah. I guess I shouldn't look at my DH jersey for clarification on that, but yeah, I think the good thing about Nike now is that, I mean, you have all these new jerseys every single year, so that even though your core jerseys are still there, you're still seeing a lot of the statement ones, the city ones, the earned ones, I think they call them. So you get a good way to rebrand without completely rebranding. But yes, I hate the white one and I hate the statement green ones.
Yeah, the green ones they were so loud. I think we won our playoff game with them, I was like, okay, superstitions on deck right now. Let's play with them every game here. But so overall, great vibes going into preseason. What do we need to see out of our team to kind of just like, out of every team in the NBA, do you feel like it's like very pivotal for us to start right, like to start strong? Because apparently like they had a preseason team already, and it was the Nets and the Lakers, and like no one played. It was like all the B squad.
I was watching football today, and then I also saw that was on, and I was like, wait a second, there's a basketball game. But by the way, I won a ton of money. Well, not a ton in relation to what I normally win on DraftKings.
Whoa!
I put $30 in. Well, I had $10 in my account at the beginning of the NFL season. I got it up to 30 by winning the first few weeks, and then I put a bunch of money down, or like $30 down this week, and I won 150. And that's was
it like a parlay style?
No, because I can't even do that kind of betting in Minnesota yet, which I cannot wait until they do, because we will definitely be talking. I will definitely be talking about that at least. But this is just like the regular DraftKings where you like have a salary and you can like draft players for the week. And then so I just did that, and I got the number one spot in a group of 100. I got second in another group of 100, and then I won some other stuff that was like, I won a $50 one, $30 one, $20 one. It was like crazy. I couldn't believe it. I knew I had a good team. That's exciting. But anyways,
that's cool, man. So it's that's really cool. So like you draft a lineup for a week. I know so little, and I'm very homerish. Like I remember doing NBA, like what do they call it? Those like, what do they call it?
Oh, the pick'ems or something?
Shit. Those leagues, like
the ESPN fantasy leagues.
Yeah, thank you. Fuck
Yeah.
me. Fantasy.
Yeah.
I did fantasy basketball when like Al Jefferson and Kevin Love were on our team.
Same.
And I picked like 5 Timberwolves on my team.
Yeah, I did that
So
too.
like Al Jefferson went busted out, right? But like
You know,
I'm so homerish.
there's positives to that in a way, because like with the Timberwolves, obviously we understand everybody's tendencies. We know, like, coming into a game, we have a good idea of what to expect from each player. Sure, we'll have some surprises, but like, we know of like the value of Nas Reed when a lot of other people might not know that. But yeah,
Yeah, for
back
sure.
back in the day when I did fantasy, I was very homerish, and I had like the entire team was Wolves.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was really liking that. I don't remember where I was going with that in the first place, but
Oh, we were talking like preseason stuff and like how what your pulse on the team is and what we needed to do well, and all of a sudden, boom, DraftKings. You were watching basketball. Oh, because we were talking about basketball on today for no reason.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think going into this season, I think it's tricky because I think there's going to be a lot of things that they're trying new systems in the beginning of the year, which may work. And speaking of parlays, I hate that I am doing this again, but you know, Dane Moore said it so perfectly in a podcast the other day. I just have to use it again. But he said it in a way where he's like, the Timberwolves, the way they're going to start the season is going to be different. You're going to see different defensive schemes. You're going to see a lot of different play out of every individual. There's going to be people that are way better. We're going to have Pat Bev. We've got all this different stuff. And his take is that he's expecting the beginning of the season, the first 10 or 15 games, to go kind of bad. And that it's gonna look bad. They're gonna give up a lot of threes. It's gonna be kind of like sad days. But at the same time, to your question, I think it is important for us to start well this season. I don't think we can afford to, even though that makes sense. Starting that off. He was saying, like, it's possible for everything to go right, but it's kind of like a parlay. So it's going to have to be like, oh, this, and this all have to work, and then this team is really good. And this team could go all the way to deep playoff run. But the likelihood of that is, like a parlay, very unlikely. So, but kind of to your question more, I do think it is important for us to start the season well. I don't think we can start going 5-12 or going on massive losing streaks or anything like that. I think we have to keep the fan base engaged and keep our chances open for possible deals, whether that's a Ben Simmons or somebody else, or just keep hope alive, because if this team has hope, I think they can band together and compete throughout the season. But I think if we start bad again, man, I mean, how many years can one Towns emotionally take of just sucking? Like, he is obviously a ridiculously talented player, but like the team as a whole cannot start bad, I don't think. And if they do start bad, man, do they have to have the craziest run of a second half of the season.
Speaking of that, I think Phoenix peaked. I don't. There's probably some trajectory where they're going to be better than last year. That's basically a lot on Ayton and just more proficiency from their shooters that they have so little of. But I look at a team like Phoenix, and they got all the way to the fucking finals, and they look like a team that was like reaching with Chris Paul. In my opinion, they were reaching to see like a success story out of Chris Paul, and like that leader in the room just got everyone like engaged and kind of like centered around Chris Paul, and they were like playing almost for him. Like I feel like there's like some weird thing kinetically about like Kat and Beverly in the locker room. One is kind of like an emotional leader by example, and one is this like cutthroat, like in your face defense, like ain't gonna cut it when you're just slacking back kind of approach. And I think everyone's gonna galvanize around our identity and around what Finch is, because they're all tired of losing. They've been saying it in their pregame, their like post scrimmage stuff, that they're just tired of losing. And this comes within. It comes from within for sure, because we're not going to get like some random player that just changes our culture overnight. But like you look at the Phoenix Suns, and they drafted their team, and they pulled in Chris Paul, and all of a sudden that galvanized into a 51 team, right? I think like a Beverly could have a very similar effect, not like Chris Paul, but just like everyone runs with that energy, and they're not going to take any shit from each other, because it's like, oh, we're so accustomed to losing, right? It's another day, another dollar. We're still getting paid.
Yep.
I think, yeah, and I'm looking at the West, just like the pulse around the West, and it just feels weird, because it's like Clippers are half injured and older. Lakers look like they're a shoo-in for the finals, but they're also just like, who the fuck are they? They have just a bunch of players that are all named, but like there's no like real identity. And it might just be like Westbrook and shooters, right? It might just be like that for the whole like first half of the season. I'm looking at other top dogs, like Denver has like all their eggs in 4 players right now. Porter Jr., Gordon, Jokic, and Murray. And okay, Murray is often injured. Jokic is like what he is, but Gordon gets injured a lot. Porter apparently gets injured because he's like a high flying hero, high flying player. And so like you can see that they don't have Paul Millsap anymore.
And
you know, so like
paid them all so much too.
Yeah. And so like in Portland, like with the new regime, Chauncey Billups, like why is he the head coach?
They're confusing.
And their only offseason move was Larry Nance. You know, Dallas got like they re-signed Boban Marjanovic, you know, like maybe Langston, maybe Reggie Bullock.
Something like that.
The Warriors still are super weak and they're reliant on their young dudes. There is a spot for us in the West, and I'm really high on it. And I think it also it's going to be like success breeds more success. If we start off 5-10, we're all going to be looking at each other, be like, "What the fuck?" Right?
Exactly.
We're all going to start pointing at each other, and we're going to go 5-20. We're going to be like, "Where's Ben Simmons?"
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
wholeheartedly. And I think if, and we've kind of talked about this as well, but man, if this team is not good this year, it's going to be a struggle as a fan. I mean, you know, Minnesota fans are resilient in every sport. We can handle bad seasons, and I mean, as evidence right now, you can handle a almost entirely terribly run franchise for 30 plus years, and you'll still have people making podcasts about you. But it'll be hard to really stay with this team. I probably will inevitably just do that just because I was born in Minnesota. Yeah, it's all I know, and it's hard to like choose another team to root for. I will say
you're watching the Vikings and they're fucking dumpster. You're watching the Twins and they like are not re-signing Byron Buxton, and so he's going to go to the fucking Yankees or the Angels or whatever. God. And like we're just going to be another rebuilding Morneau and Milk Baby Mauer franchise. So like I don't know, man. Like Minnesota needs a team to spark something, and it could be the Wild, but I have a weird feeling that it's going to come from the Timberwolves.
I do too. And I'm being very cautiously optimistic because I know that I've been very optimistic in the past. I think the highest I've been optimism wise was probably back when we had Wiggins, Levine, and Cat. I was very excited for that core. I knew that it was going to take time. I knew that it wasn't going to be like, oh, we drafted these guys and next year we're all going to be in it, I think on Reddit I put my little like headline on my username as like Zach LaVine MVP 2023 or something like that. So I understood. Like
it might still happen.
Yeah, it could still happen. I am very excited for the Bulls, I will say. But I understood it was going to take a long time, but at the same for that team, but we still have Towns, and things have not gone up really at all, other than the 1 year we had Butler. So I am ready for a good season, and I'm almost certain that we should have a decent season this year.
Yeah. We have so many threats out there. Who are you going to double team? Because the other person is going to make that shot. Mm-hmm. Or who are you going to allow to drive to the paint? Because that guy's going to kick, or he's going to make that dunk, So it's like, I'm really excited about our offense and how it just will look organically. I don't think anything's going to feel forced. I worry sometimes about like holistic, like hockey line lineup changes. Mm-hmm. But I think that's where, like we have Beasley, we have a D'Lo to maybe spell some of that. So we have some sustainability of our starting lineup in the second unit. But I feel like we're going to have this like Portland method of just outscoring teams and have good vibes with doing that. Like, I don't feel like we're going to have this like 20% shooting night, because we're going to have so much ways to adapt and adjust. Mm-hmm. Because like what we were doing under Saunders was chucking until the game was All right. What we were doing under Tibbs was just like take very contested ISO shots and cut when it's appropriate, but like no one's going to find you because Rubio's on the bench or in the corner, right? So, no, I think with the ball in Cat's hands, the ball in Ant's hands, we're in a much better standing than I think we've been in a long time. Since like I would say like the early 2000 Timberwolves, I think is maybe the where I am in terms of optimism right now. We just got Latrell Sprewell, we just got Sam Cassell, we have Wally Zerbiak, we got the All-Star Wally Zerbiak, we got KG, we got Anthony Peeler, we got all sorts of Trenton Hassel, we got all these dudes, and Mark Madsen and all this, and Gary Trent, and everyone has a role on our team, and I don't think there's a whole lot of ego on our team. There might be one or two, and those are the people who we have to have the ball in their hands, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So ultimately, like I'm like really, really buzzing on this team, and so preseason, if we go 500 or better, that'll be exciting. And then I can't wait for opening day, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm not too concerned about whatever records we have in preseason, and honestly, I guess I'll be looking for some things in preseason. I'm curious to see how much we play all of our players together, because I mean, as we've said over the last 2 years, like we just haven't seen these players play together. So I'm excited to see D'Lo, Beasley, Towns, Ant, and I guess Vando or McDaniels or whoever plays the four. I'm excited to see them all play, even if it is only for a few minutes at a time, and then we throw in like what is this? Isaiah Miller, my new favorite.
Yeah, man.
But I am excited to see the team. And fun fact, I am actually going to the game tomorrow.
Woohoo!
So that'll be exciting. Interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to go. It's the first time I've been at a Timberwolves game in so long. I did go to I did go to that like scrimmage thing earlier this year, but there weren't like a ton of people there. I mean, there were people there for sure, but like it wasn't like a packed building, I guess, like normal Target Center. But I'm excited for the game tomorrow and see what we can do. But
dude, you're gonna Periscope it live like Alan Horton?
I could. That would be. I wonder if you get in trouble for stuff like that. I don't know. I could do that, though.
I don't think so.
I think you can do that. I did that for a Timberwolves practice way back in the day, and people still to this day message me on Twitter and say, "Oh, are you gonna live stream the game?"
Nice. Well, it'll be sick to see something, but we'll probably be doing a show after the game.
Yeah, we should. I mean, I'm gonna have to get home from the stadium, so it won't be right after the game, but I'm definitely down. We did have a couple questions for people on Twitter.
Ooh.
So it's only 2, actually 3.
Let's do it.
So first one from JJ. I don't know if he's still here, but from JJ Creates, it is: what are the biggest points you took to watch/analyze during, or what are the biggest points you look to watch or analyze during tomorrow's preseason game? I guess we kind of talked about that a little bit. I'm definitely, the main thing for me is I want to see all the players together and just playing, and I want to see how everybody's shots look. Defense, I guess I'm a little curious, but it's preseason, so I don't know what to expect there. But I'm just excited to see pacing. I'm excited to see just what our team looks like as a healthy unit. So that would be my answer to that.
My one thing is I want to see every player play. I want to not see the starters not play, right? I want to see them play like 6 to 10 minutes in the first quarter, and then that's what they do.
Yep.
And just see what they vibe on and how they can take down whoever they're playing against. Like make it messy, make it like meaningful, and like that's what I want to see. And then from the second lineups, like I'm excited to see Leandro Balmero. Like, who the fuck is he? Like, honestly, I have no idea. Every shot that he takes and makes is like another like stab at Jake Layman and his minutes. Even seeing like a high flyer like Isaiah Miller just making something like kind of stand out for like Sports Center would be kind of fun, right? Just seeing something fun like that. Mm-hmm. But just good vibes is what I'm looking at. No one pointing figures and like having everyone play.
Yeah. Next question from Michelle, and I don't know your last name. I'm sorry, Michelle. Michelle Sichak. Our most recent follower, by the way. Feel free to give us a follow if you're watching this later.
And a thumbs.
And a thumbs up. I've done that already. But
Good job, man.
who will see? Yeah, thank you. But from Michelle, who will see more improvement this season, Ant or Jaden?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I think, me personally, I think we're going to see more improvement from Ant.
Yeah.
Um, and that's, I mean, I was already pretty high on Ant last year, and I really liked, especially even end of the season, even when he was a little bit more tired. I still thought he was performing so great. I mean, he had those like 41 point. He had a 41-point game that looked amazing, and like he still had like tiny bit of inconsistency, but honestly, he got more consistent throughout the season. Like he started super inconsistent, and then the last half of the season, it was like, well, I know Ant's gonna go out there and get like 20 points, 5
We were
rebounds, 5
super
assists.
reliant on him, and he was dependable.
Yeah, exactly. And he was, what is he, 19 at the time?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, that's insane. So I think that he will be better. I think he obviously has so much to improve on defense. And I don't think that was a lack of effort from him necessarily last season. I think that was just a new game. I mean, he goes from college to the NBA, and he looked a little lost out there on defense. So I think that having a season under his belt, understanding all the players and their moves, and more scouting, and even just more practice, I think that'll be good for him. And for Jaden, I mean, I think Jaden surprised me so much last year. It would be, I mean, he's such a solid player for it. I mean, he was playing over 40 minutes almost every game of last season. And even though, and we talked about this on all of our nightly tier lists, he like it was such a hard person to judge because like his stats are like, oh, he had 5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal or something like that. But he played like 42 minutes. And it's like,
No.
and he felt like a major piece out there, like he's making defensive plays, even if it doesn't count for a block or a steal, like he is interrupting the offense on the other end. So I think that Jaden will have what appears to be a sophomore slump, but in all reality, I think he's going to continue kind of the work that he's already been doing. I don't think we should expect any, for me personally, I don't expect any huge leaps, but I think Ant will transcend this season into a top player, not just for our team, which he already is, but he's going to be known as a player to watch out for going into opponent arenas and having people come to us. People are going to know Ant, and they're going to have to game plan against him.
A1 from year 2.
Yes.
I love what you said there about Jaden. I think everything that he does is going to be not recorded. That's like the best part about his game, is that he's going to be the 5th option, 4th option, like last second, like dump, and he's going to shoot the 3, and you're going to reliably think it's going to go in. 40% chance clip from 3. He's grown, he's taller, he's going to be able to block more shots, steal more passes because he's so nimble and quick, recover better, and he's deceptive. But in all assets and all facets of this game that you're going to like judge a character, judge a player by, judge a player by, it's going to be Ant, bar none. Like I think Ant is going to put our team on the map more so than Cat ever would have done. And besides like the dunk contest, right? Like from Zach LaVine. And basically kind of turn this culture around this year. So we're a laughing stock, we're a call Rachel team. And I think Ant is going to basically say, "Hey, fuck, nip all that in the butt. We're just winning games now. Like that's all. And then I'm just going to make sure it's on me to win these games. I don't think it's going to be like D'Lo at the last second. I think it's going to be more Ant.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Cat with the last second like post up. It's going to be Ant. And
I hope it is.
And I think, judging from what I'm seeing and judging from what I'm hearing, the ball's in his hands, a lot more high usage, and while I could kind of go with the growing pains, I don't see a whole lot of pain in having Ant with the ball.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I think he's going to be a spectacular player for us, and I just cannot wait to see him play this year. Third question and final question from Dave Ben's burner account.
Whoa!
Did you miss me?
Himself.
Yeah. And that's my own account, so.
I know.
But yes, I did miss you. I do miss Dave Benz. I will say, so a little preview on the Dave Benz and Jim Peterson. 2 two little storylines to catch up on. I know we've been going for an hour, so I don't want to go on too long. But and we're gonna be on like every night after the games anyway, so I don't need to talk about everything right now. But one thing I'm hoping for and looking forward to, hopefully, from Dave Benz this year is less ant facts. I do not want to hear a single cringe ant fact again. It ruins moments. It was fun for like a day. I did not.
And then
enjoy
it became about
Bay
Benz, and it was less about
the
actual play.
There's so many things, and I hope Dave doesn't see this because I really do like Dave. But a lot of things that I see in him are really just him trying to be the best at his job. And I understand that that's what everybody does at their job. Everybody wants to be good at their job. But I see through him, he does not care about the moment. He cares about what it's going to look like on his resume. Yeah. And you can do that by looking at his YouTube channel. He has highlights of all of his calls. So, and I actually enjoy that. I like watching stuff like that. When it's good calls, not when it's ant facts. I don't care. He was trying to impress I don't know. He wants to be like national, I think. And to my next point, I'm a little worried about Jim Pete. So there is no reason to believe this. There is no reporting on this.
Get out of here.
He went recently on a pretty big following spree of a lot of people that are Minnesota Timberwolves fans. And hey, maybe that's just to get people hyped up for the season and tune in for Jim Pete or something like that. But what if it's a
Jim Pete on the nines?
Yeah, he's kind of like, I'm going to call, this is maybe my last year.
Whoa!
In the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then he'd go national or something like that.
Oh, that would be great for the NBA, but terrible for us.
I hope not. And I think I have even heard him talk before in the past about not doing that. I think he does enjoy more of the local market. He knows Minnesota. He was a coach for the Knicks, or not the Knicks, the Lynx. But, I think he probably wants to stay local and he enjoys his position here in Minnesota. But the Timberwolves also did lose their producer, Vanessa Lambert, last season. And I know that she's been a big part of the team for a little while now. So, things are changing.
I don't know who that is. Oh, that's great intel, man.
Yeah, I follow Vanessa.
Breaking news.
And they talk about her every once in a while when they're on the broadcast. So
yeah, maybe
I've started to follow her, but she's down in Florida now or something. So hopefully, I know they miss her, but hopefully that's not. Hopefully it's not.
I hope you're just reading into things.
I really hope I am too, and if I'm not, man, oh man, somebody's got to.
But you know what? 2 months from now, if we see Jim Pete leave, we're gonna be the hill rat of
yes,
Jim Pete's
exactly.
Breaking news. I don't want that to be true. I want that to be the worst rumor you've ever said. The worst hot take.
I hope so too. Now, I'm sure that you want to be wrapping this up here soon.
I do.
I do have one more question. We have to talk about it just a tiny, tiny bit. We don't have to go into great detail.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about it a little bit, but he is the thumbnail. We haven't really talked about Ben Simmons.
I tried to skirt the topic.
Yes, a little bit. And that's okay. There isn't really much to say. I think...
No, there's a lot to say, actually.
Well, there's a lot to say, but a lot of it's already been said. So I guess I'll just kind of put my 2 cents out there, and if you have anything to add, feel free. But
let's do it.
For me, I think Ben Simmons makes a ton of sense for the Timberwolves, but I think it doesn't make sense for the 76ers to really do anything, because they can get better offers from other teams down the road in the season. Let's say Portland is kind of struggling, or 500-ish, not kind of teetering around the play-in game, and that's not where they want to be. What if they're
CJ McCollum is way better than anything we can offer.
Yeah, exactly. And there's almost every team that's got any amount of interest has a better offer for Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons fits so perfectly into our system because we need a 4. You disagree?
I don't see how he fits so perfectly.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Yeah, I'll answer this, but I would also love to know why you think he's so perfect. So as a 4, he's like a Jimmy Butler 4, right? Mm-hmm. He's better on the ball, better at the perimeter. I I don't remember him doing a whole lot post wise. And Jimmy Butler could do some post defense, but it's usually like how how you run in and grab a charge, or something like that. Like I don't know what Simmons was all about defensively at the post. I know he's a good defensive rebounder,
Mm-hmm.
and he would basically be our Draymond Green.
Yeah.
I would say a more athletic, um, like higher upside, Draymond Green, but without like the acumen and or the uh the reference points that I've seen from Draymond, that I would say like that's what I would want Draymond Green over Ben Simmons in this team, because of what Draymond's been able to do so far. Like his story, his record, his report card has been what has been, whereas Ben Simmons has been kind of perimeter based defense, which is great,
Mm-hmm.
but because they had Embiid on defense,
Yeah.
like as the last resort.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked better because of Embiid. But his man-on-man defense is sensational. And then putting him in the dunker spot defensively, putting him in as this like roamer, like I don't know who that is. And I would say offensively, I think we would have to change our identity a bit, because that's like almost like saying Rubio and Ant are on the floor together and Rubio's just sitting in the corner, right? Like what's Rubio's role if he's just sitting in the corner? Like what is Ben Simmons' role if he's sitting in the dunker spot? Ant is doing most of the work. And then if Ant doesn't have the ball in his hands, where's he most effective, right? So I don't know if he fits perfectly, because, at what cost? We're going to be losing, a Jaden. We might be losing a shooter in Beasley. We might be losing another asset or 2 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
What does he make up? Polished defense, right? Our top 15 defense, like ceiling, could be top 10 with him, right?
Yeah.
Probably. But like, are we still going to be bottom tier defense? Probably. What is he going to do? Probably elevate us to a top 20 defense. So,
yeah,
in my opinion, I don't see where he integrates well, but I think we're going to struggle defensively regardless of who we have on the floor. And what does Simmons do? What does Simmons do that a Jaden McDaniels can't right now?
I will say, yeah. So I will say that my saying that he's perfect for us relies heavily on what I believe we would be trading in a situation. Because yes, if we're giving up like a Beasley, a D'Lo, and
that's all of our shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have no shooting. I mean, we still have shooting. Like Ant's a good shooter, but he's not like a shooter.
But then everyone's going to be doubling on him.
Exactly. So we lose a lot if that's the situation. And I'm in my head, and maybe this is foolish, but in my head, I think there's a world in which we can get Simmons, without giving up D'Lo, not necessarily without giving up Beasley. I think Beasley is likely gone in any scenario like that. And obviously it's tricky because you have to find a third team, and this is where it gets really hard to talk about a Ben Simmons thing, is because like, what is that third team? Because if there's all these teams that are interested in Ben Simmons, why don't they just offer their own package for Ben Simmons, instead of facilitating us? It doesn't really make any sense. So in that sense, it makes it a little tricky to talk about and really even make any kind of hypotheticals about it. But if we were able to only give up Jaden, Beasley, filler, and like picks, to a third team that is looking for picks, like unprotected Timberwolves picks, I don't know how many I'd be comfortable giving up, but something like that. Then if we have Simmons come into a team that's got D'Lo, and it's got Ant, it's got Cat, then that team I really like, because then, D'Lo, although he is a ball handler, he can easily play off ball. Ant can play on the ball. Simmons can play as the ball handler. And even, Cat likes to think that he can. He was a point guard or whatever when he was in high school or kindergarten or something. But, all of these players can handle the ball and would be good in transition. But he would be the biggest Timberwolf. He is actually the same size as Towns. And actually may weigh more than Towns. He's the same. I believe he's the same height. And I don't remember. If Towns is 240 now, Ben Simmons actually might be more than him.
Cameron?
Yes.
So what does Ben Simmons do? What does Ben Simmons Jesus, am I even saying it properly? What does Ben Simmons do to our team to feel like it's like a perfect glove for our defense or for our offense or for whatever system our identity is going to be?
Well,
I'm still trying to figure out that answer.
this is definitely more of the defensive emphasis.
Yeah.
I mean, I think having a defensive player like Ben Simmons on the team, if we have Cat's defense that he showed at times last season, that's fantastic addition as well. I just think defensively that he's that much of an impact to help our team. And maybe you might be right in saying that instead of being the 28th defense in the league, we may go to the 20th. But that difference could make a huge difference in our wins and losses. Is he really 250? Oh yeah. That Dane Moore clip. Yeah. That's right. I remember that. So yeah, he could be bigger than Towns. But I think even just slight defensive improvement for our team helps us dramatically.
You think that can't come from within and a change of philosophy?
Oh, I think it could, but I think Ben Simmons is that good of a player that if we brought him in, there would be
regardless.
Yeah, I think there would be a major change in our defense, and if that major change means going from 28th to 19th or something like that, then that so be it. But I think because that
would be great.
We should have an offense within the top 10. I'd say we should have on paper we should have an offense that is in the top 10. But and I think it's definitely possible. And you're right. There are things that we could do to improve from within, whether that's just starting to play better defense or different schemes. But I do think that Ben Simmons, if we are not giving up much, is a great fit for our team. And I would be very excited to see the versatility that he brings on defense.
Yeah.
Obviously, offensively, he is a Rubio-esque type player where we're not going to see. I don't want to see jump shots. It's like worse than Rubio in that respect. But I think his defense is. It's going to be it would be a game changer if we were to get him. But
yeah, you're right. And go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, all of these things are so hypothetical because, as I've said, like, what trade scenario makes sense? I am struggling to find a scenario that makes sense because we're certainly not going to get one straight up with Philadelphia. Why would they want Jaden? I mean, Beasley could help them a little bit, but he's not going to he doesn't make some huge push for them to make the playoff or deep playoff run or something like that. Godfrey, hey,
Philly needs shooters. I feel like they were one double bounce, overtime loss away from winning a championship, and they had the perfect shooters around that team, and they were going to probably win that series against Golden State. That was disheveled in half of themselves because they were all injured. I think they also need so much more than just a shooter. They need a culture shift, and while it's going to be heavily reliant on Embiid again, Embiid is notorious for getting injured for 20 games a year, right? Mm-hmm. So I struggle to see that team winning games without him, and now without Simmons, right? It's Maxey and it's Harris. I'm worried about that team.
Yeah.
But so they need more than just a Beasley, in my opinion. For us, Ben Simmons as the top 3 potential DPOY, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm saying this. It would completely shift our defense, but I still don't see the nested fit with our identity. Because is he going to recover for Cat? Is Cat going to be on Cat going to be on the wing and Ben Simmons going to be in the post? I'm concerned about what that would look like. I look at him more as a Pascal Siakam, Jimmy Butler, kind of Giannis type defender, right? Where he's just able to shut down the player he's defending, and you got to pass it to someone else. That would be fantastic for our team, bar none. But I think, and this is me being super fucking homeristic, fantasy league picking Jaden McDaniels and picking Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
But we have floor versions or basement versions of Ben Simmons in those players.
That's true.
We kind of looked at Vanderbilt sometimes and thinking like he's kind of like Draymond Green in a very, very small shell of it.
I
But like,
do love Vando.
yeah, and we have him and he wants to be here. And like, I think the culture within is going to only grow and foster a better defensive unit when we're constantly shifting pieces here and there. Like, I feel like it could take another 20 games to get everyone on board.
That is definitely
Right?
true. And that's why at this point now, I'm almost not on board with doing the trade before the season, because if we do it now, I mean, we've already started training camp. These kind of trades, like you said, take time to get used to. The team has to learn each other, and it's like, man, that's just like, I don't want that right now, as we've got all these good vibes and stuff like that. It's like hard to kind of do that. Now, a couple weeks ago, I was totally down. I was like, let's do it. Let's get it started with. Let's start the season with a whole new squad. But I think, to kind of finish up my thoughts on Ben Simmons, and maybe using perfect was the wrong word, but I would say I am all for Jaden, and especially I really like Vando and the possibility of what Vando could bring to this team. I think the thing that's so intriguing about a Ben Simmons is that he is a very, very polished version of those players, where he can, you're gonna get it. With Jaden and Vando, I don't bet. I'm not gonna go on FanDuel and be like, yeah, I am 100% certain that Vando's gonna get 3 blocks tonight. And not to say that I am like that about Ben Simmons, but like more so like I am just not as confident that their defense is going to be what I want from them. But from a Ben Simmons, I am more. I will expect that on a nightly basis. But it's not impossible. I mean, Vando. I love Vando last year. He was a great engine. There were just games where he wasn't it. And maybe I'm thinking of it too deeply. But the other thing I will say,
no, I don't think so. You are. I don't think you are.
And this is the last thing I promise I'll say on Ben Simmons. I am a little concerned about all of these things that he is putting out on social media, like liking posts from Sixers Nation or something like that on Instagram that says how much money he's gonna miss by like skipping practices and games and stuff like that. And his willingness, I understand this is probably a lot of Rich Paul, because Rich Paul is his agent, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, I understand it's probably a lot of him, but there's a lot of like character flaws that are kind of coming up in this that I'm like, maybe I don't want this type of a person on our team. Because this is very, like, I would hate this person. And this, I mean, like Jimmy forced his way out of here, and I hate Jimmy now. Kind of.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't like that, and it feels better because it's Philly, and I don't like Philly. And also, Philly can survive something like this, whereas like if something like this happened to the Timberwolves, it would decimate us. Like if we had like a star player, top 2-3 player on the team do something like this, it would be years of recovery. Whereas like I know that the 76ers could go out there and get a trade right now that would make them still a deep playoff team.
Let's think about this a little bit further later, but like we're going to come talk about this probably every other day, honestly. And it's going to be great to talk about because it's like something that's like kind of more realistic than the Bradley Beals and the Devin Bookers of years past. He's more tangible and readily available. Okay, like in a nutshell,
that's your podcast.
Yeah. Ben Simmons. Jimmy Butler was worth, in the end, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and some shit. Like we had to send Justin Patton as well for those 2 players. Those 2 players are middling players, like not stars, but kind of like they're in a role and they know they're role player. When we got them, we went like 8-3 or something stupid, right? Like we went so high on like the buzz of losing Jimmy and the gain of these players. He like fell in love with Robert Covington overnight. Ben Simmons is, I think, worth less than Jimmy Butler. And his value is tanking. And I would say, as the season progresses, the value of Jaden McDaniels is going up. The value of Beasley will probably go up because, damn, his contract is awesome.
Yes.
Damn, he's a 40% like blind shooter. And he doesn't have to do anything. It's Simmons. It's like Simmons. It's Embiid giving him the ball and he's shooting wide open because Embiid's going to be triple teamed every game. Like our value could be just those two players, and like they're gonna have to give up and concede and not be Morey, right? And like do something with Simmons. Otherwise, they're just gonna be a laughing stock, and every goddamn day is gonna be full of drama.
Yeah.
For them, they're gonna have to get rid of him, and they might have to get rid of him sooner than later. And they're gonna have to like concede and get lower value than they want. Meanwhile, our value is going up. All of our players, in my opinion.
Andrew Wiggins, future 76er.
Andrew Wiggins, future All-Star.
Future All-Star. Oh yeah, you picked
maybe next year. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that as like a precedent. Like how Jimmy treated us, his value was tanked because he wanted out. But we still got like a decent return. But Jimmy was way more valuable.
Yeah.
His contract was running up, and so to that effect, Robert Covington, Dario Saric are like nothing compared to, honestly, like a Beasley in this league right now.
Yeah.
Covington's great and everything, but like, what is he fucking doing in Portland? Right? They're a dumpster defensive team, and like Covington's supposed to like save that franchise. Apparently, no, he's not going to able to. He's not able to. So I'm just thinking this like kind of in that comparison lens. In a nutshell, like we're going to get value. We're not going to have to overbuy Simmons if we need to, but they're going to ask for the moon and back, and we're not going to give it to them because they have no like leverage.
Yeah,
we're in a power position, and we can wait because we were building on a good camaraderie right now. We're building a good energy, so we don't need him. We could use him, and guess what? We could go on like a Phoenix type run and have this like amazing bubble ball experience, and then get Simmons towards the deadline or towards the offseason, and be that much better.
That's true.
In my opinion, that could be our timeline, our universe.
Yeah.
But I don't want to really break this up right now because this is the highest I've ever felt.
Yep.
About this squad, and it would kill me to lose a Jaden this early. It would kill me to lose a Naz Reid when he's like the best value of the fucking league right now.
Yeah.
Like just I don't know. I would hate to see that. And for a disheveled, disgruntled friend of Cats and Delos, right? And then if they're just friends, what are we fucking doing? Are we doing another Country Club 2.0?
Also,
I don't want that.
Side note: Ben Simmons and Karl-Anthony Towns do not follow each other on Instagram.
Say that again.
Ben Simmons and Karl-Anthony Towns do not follow each other on Instagram.
That's real. That's real hate.
It's interesting.
That headlock.
But they have been friends. They've played video games on Twitch together. I just don't understand what the reasoning is behind that. But anyways, well, we've been going for an hour and a half, and you guys are going to see an hour of us every night anyways, so we don't really probably need to continue. But I will say, as some closing notes from me before this, nice. I mean, the season isn't fully starting. We're going to do another show before the season like actually starts, but probably multiple. But I'd say at the moment I am optimistic that this team can be a 500 team, and I think Ant is going to be so much better this season, and he was already so good last season, that it's going to take the league by storm, and people are going to notice. He is going to be on SportsCenter top 10 plays frequently, and people are going to love him because of his personality. I think Cat's... So I loved what you were saying about Cat earlier. I think Cat is going to have a great season. You said something to the effect of, it looks like all of like he's gone through an off season. He's been able to like hang out with family, kind of like, I don't know, mentally cleanse himself a little bit of like all the bad stuff that has happened over the last few years. And
he got a tattoo.
He did get
a
tattoo.
Dog.
Yes.
Two of them.
And I think he looks and seems better than he has in a long time. Even with like the Rosas stuff happening, he seems really good. And
I think he's over it already.
Yeah, watching that press conference was all I needed, because the way he was talking at that press conference, he even brought up the fact that Jimmy like scapegoated him and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
I like that he did.
I did too. Like he'd been kind of like dancing around that, and it's like, we all know, just like say it, and he said it, and like Towns is still Towns, so he's still got like some things that he says that I personally just get annoyed by, but just seeing him, I can understand and I can see that he is better now. Like, and obviously there's still things that have happened that are bad, but he's better now. So I'm excited to see a happy Towns come into the season. I'm excited to see I'm excited to see Pat Bev. I'm very excited to see him and what he does to this team. Um, and yeah, I'm very excited to see basketball again because although I've been enjoying football, I'm a basketball person. So,
Dude, I don't know how football's enjoyable these days.
fantasy.
Well, fantasy, yeah, sure, and money apparently.
Apparently.
Okay, I kind of started writing something, and then listening to podcasts. I feel like these were not all of my words, so like I'll share some of this with you guys. Like, Cat missed 22 games, D'Lo missed 30 games, Beasley missed 35 games. Towns and Russell played 24 games together. They're over 500 in those games, and that was like we were building with Saunders. We were not playing Ant. We were in a mess. We changed rosters. We had more injuries, right? We were 13 and 11 in those 24 games. Um, Missing our top talent. Now they're in like this dire situation where they have to win. They're sick of losing. Finch has a full off season to change and adapt and evolve what he wanted with the team that is now his. We have Patrick Beverly, Torian Prince. These are like way better players than Culver, Juancho Hernan Gomez, and I would say even Rubio at this like not twilight years, but like what is he doing for any franchise that's not a contender? He's just kind of like a mentor in the sides, right? He's not on the court kicking ass here for us, for anyone really. Like, I think, Jaden McDaniels is now 6'11", 7 foot. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, we have so much room to grow, literally, but also like there's reason for optimism, and it's not just homerism. Mm-hmm. And our roster is flawed for sure, but it also has like top billing offensive players. And in this NBA where they're calling everything as a foul, like you're gonna get Anthony, you're gonna get Ant on the line for 10 times a game. You're gonna see D'Lo and Cat get wide open shots, and you're gonna I feel like you're gonna see a team that hasn't had the opportunities it's had ever in its construction this season, because things are going to feel way more open now than they've ever have. And we have not really been like the players haven't really had those like weird like herky jerk plays where they're trying to lean in for fouls, or like how the league is changing and how they're officiating. Mm-hmm. We're just going to be the same type of player, like our same type of roster, not trying to like hunt for fouls the way that they have been, other players have been, right? So like stopping short like Trae Young, or like kind of doing the shit that James Harden's been doing, mm-hmm. right? We don't have that kind of player. We might have a small amount of that in D'Lo, but like D'Lo never does anything egregious.
Yeah.
I say all that to say, like, I think 38 wins is possible. I think 40 wins is possible. And I'm not just saying it out of my ass, mm-hmm. because I think the pulse in the league, the pulse in the West is still high, but like there's a lot of like muddy gray area in like some of the teams that are on the top of the West. The East looks crazy. Like, I don't know what to think of the East. We're not in the East. We barely play the East. It's like, I think we're going to have this 35-win team buzzing with enthusiasm at a minimum. And I think that's going to keep everyone here kumbaya style. Towns ain't going to be mad. Ain't going to request a trade. The media is going to start looking at us a little bit more. But like, honestly, we're fine without it. Like when we had those 30 games on ESPN or whatever, when Tibbs and like Jimmy Butler and all that were here, I think we went like 500 in those games. Yeah. Right. So like, keep us off that shit. Like, let's just sail under the radar and then be a fucking like menace in the playoffs. I think that's going to happen. That's going to be our reality, in my opinion. And well, that's my like little final thoughts.
Yeah. I think wins wise, we should definitely be expecting 500, and I will be disappointed if it's less than 35 wins. And I think you're responding to JJ, but yes, the plan is to do exactly kind of what we did last season, where we do shows after most, if not all, games. I can't necessarily promise every game because I do have a new job, which starts at 8:30 in the morning. So West Coast games could be a little bit tricky for me.
What's your job? You have a new job?
I think I don't know how new it is. I think I've told you. I can't
Oh,
remember.
okay. Oh,
But
yeah, maybe you did.
it's basically the same thing, just for a different company.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you told me. That's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I work like normal human hours, like 8:30 to 5. So, but anyways, doing West Coast games could be a little tricky for me. Also, not a lot of people are on after the West Coast games, so we probably don't need to really go crazy and do that. But we will be live after most games.
Yeah.
And then we might even do some other stuff. Like if there's breaking news, like we came on last year for Flip Saunders, or not Flip, Ryan Saunders being fired. I think there was one other time where we came on randomly. I can't remember, but yeah, we're gonna be doing
Finch,
stuff. Yeah,
maybe. I don't
we're
know.
gonna be doing a bunch of stuff. We'll be doing the same thing. We're thinking, but we're probably gonna be on YouTube just because of discoverability. We had a pretty good run on Twitch. I mean, we got like 100 followers, which is crazy to do for somebody that didn't have like any followers in the beginning on Twitch. But but at the same time, I want people to be able to find these. I want these to be saved someplace. It's easier to do it on YouTube, and I don't know. YouTube's worked for me
And
so
then if
far.
you miss, I think also if you miss us live, we're gonna try to make this a podcast or some sort of like audio
Yes.
only listenable thing. And I think any way to reach out to people that want to listen to it at their own time, that's fine too. So seeing different ways to integrate with the new media is going to be one of our priorities. But I don't think we're not going to like go super hard into all this analytics and research and stuff. I think we're going to kind of be the same type of dudes we have been, and post some memes, talk about the dreams, and hit you up with post game coverage, do tier lists as we have been. I don't know. We're cooking up a couple of things that are new, but that might take some time to develop. And also, if you guys like and are interested in kind of joining in, we would love to have you, or even facilitate some sort of like offline conversation. But yeah, I'm really giddy for Gupta and for the season, and really excited for what's to come. And at the bare minimum, you're going to see our faces once a week, right?
At least, yeah.
At the very bare minimum,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Excited to see all you guys back here again. We got to figure out how to get Mastexer in here. We got Godfrey in here. We got JJ. Michelle might be tuning in as well. It looks like she's our most recent follower, so that'll be fun.
Mhm.
And if you're not following us, give us a follow. I don't even know who follows us, so feel free to follow
Yeah.
or ring the bell or whatever you do on
Yeah, the one
YouTube.
thing that's really cool is with Twitch, we could see who's actually watching and who are
Yeah,
bots or whatever.
I
Here, I'm
can't
having a hard
see
time like
that.
understanding how I can see who's here and whatever. But we'll look into how to like shout out you all and like kind of support your ambitions as well. So like if you're a content creator, you're an artist, JJ, we could maybe kind of highlight some of your work and push it and promote it any way we can, right? To do that for you, because you've been so great for us.
Thumbnails.
Yeah, thumbnails, top, I don't know. Let's see. But looking forward to it. And stay with us. That'd be awesome.
Definitely.
Spread the word also. That'd be cool too.
Yes, feel free. Please share the word. I think Reddit's a good place to share things. Twitter, obviously. I
I'm gonna
guess
do a lot less of promotion on Reddit. I
that's
just
all
got in
right.
trouble a few times, so
That's okay. Yeah,
I might have to drop down a little bit.
I might have to make a burner account, even though I'm a
Yeah,
mod.
yeah. Dave
uh,
Benz.
yeah, Dave Ben's burner. Okay, yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of Dave Ben's burner in the subreddit. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's all I've got. We've been going for an hour and 40.
Dude, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's talk more.
Final thoughts.
Yeah, nope, no more thoughts. It's just the game
Expect
tomorrow.
turbulence, guys. Expect turbulence.
Yes, oh God. Ugh, Ben. All right. Well, it was good seeing everybody again. Good chatting. And
Good to see you too,
if you're
man.
watching this later, hello everybody. But
Yep.
we will be back maybe tomorrow. Are you what about tomorrow?
I'm here.
Okay.
This is where I am now,
Sounds good in the white void.
in the void.
Yeah, we'll probably do one tomorrow. It might not be right after the game because I will be at the game, but it will be we'll do one tomorrow night. So cool. Well,
All right.
that's all I've got. No more thoughts. Thoughts are out.